Hey everyone, Marathon Hurdler here, back with some more Final Fantasy VIII. Last time we spoke with Adia in the aftermath of our battle with her, and she told us who the real bad guy is. We also tried to gather some information about Rinoa, but failed in those attempts. But now we're trying to figure out where Ellone is, in the hopes that she might be able to help us by sending us back in time. But I wanted to start this episode here in Shumi Village because now we can finally pick up that Timber Maniacs magazine. After we finished that Laguna scenario, if we pick up the magazine, there's no consequences for us. So I wanted to go ahead and show that off, and I'll show off my leaving in part because maybe I can find, or maybe the ultimate draw point is ready to go again. But I also wanted to clarify a few things I've been doing since the last episode. First, in between episodes, I went into Balamb Garden and I challenged Keistis to a couple of card games. The reason I did this is I wanted to pick up Balamb rules, so what I did was I challenged her to a game. She asked if I wanted to mix. I said no. I kept doing that until she said yes. Then I played her in a card game. I don't think you need to do that, but I wanted to just to get some cards anyway. And the reason you want to do this is because right now we are playing with Centra's rules, and we don't want to deal with that. Now, obviously we could always avoid mixing, but I'm not sure, I can't remember if Centra actually has the open rule, so there's a chance we might want to spread that, so we need to pick up Balamb's rules so that we don't accidentally spread random or some other terrible rule. So I went and did that off screen. And one other thing I should point out is, at this point, if you do not have at least 100 copies of Confuse, Sleep, Berserk, and Blind, you might want to pick those up now. First, the ultimate drop point is not refilled, because of course, that seems to be the way of it for me this game. But if you have not picked up those spells, and I've told you, or I guess I've highlighted several opportunities that you've had to pick up those spells, but if you have not, you want to do so now. You don't need 300 of those spells, at least not yet, although we will eventually want 600 copies of most of those spells. Blind, not so much, but we'll want 300 copies of Sleep or 600 copies of Sleep and Confuse and Berserk, but you need at least 100. And the reason for that is we're going to be doing a little, not side quest, but we're going to be taking advantage of a situation with one of our characters that's going to come up pretty soon here to try to grab some Malboro tentacles. But in order to do that, you're going to need at least 100 copies of all those spells. And I'm telling you this now because very shortly we're going to be, or in this very episode, we're going to be moving past the point where we can access the garden for a while. So we won't be able to go to a lot of areas to pick up the spells that we need, and I'm not sure if the next region is going to contain enemy or has enemies that have all the spells that we want. So yeah, if you haven't picked them up now, by now is the time to do it. So what we're doing here is we're heading to the SeeD ship, and if you remember, she tells you it's in one of these inlets, and I'm pretty sure it's in this little inlet right here, if I can get around. I'm pretty sure the SeeD ship is in here. Yep, there you go. It's right there. So now we just run into it, and we're good to go. And hopefully we can track down Ellone. Indeed. Where's the girl? Alright. Perfect. Where's the girl? Yeah. Well, that's not a great reaction. We do have a letter for you. Would they know who Sorceress Ultimacia is? I'm not sure about that. Is that what we want to do? Why did you not show him the letter? Anyway, you can talk to these guys, but there's no point. So we're just going to move ahead and get to the meat of the action here. And we run into Watts. Who would have thunk? And Zone. They both made it. Well, we're doing okay. Your princess isn't doing so well, though. That doesn't seem like a smart plan. But not a good plan. Wow. Yeah, seriously. It's hard to imagine these guys were actually, or are actually, a resistance group. Uh-huh. Yeah, sorry, buddy. And now all of a sudden Zone gets tough. Uh-huh. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I've got a gun blade. You've got nothing. Yeah. This is our job. We're getting paid to take care of her. See? We have a plan. Exactly. This whole macho act, I'm sorry, I'm just not buying his own. Anyway, what we want to do now is we want to go ahead and talk to Zone because we have an item that he might be interested in. Oh, and by the way, there's another Timber Maniacs magazine up here. Completely forgot about that one. Gotta be honest. But yeah, we talked to Zone. I think if you talk to him enough times... Uh-huh. How many times do I need to... There we go. 3 times. So what you want to do is give it to him for free. And then if you do, he gives you... Well, that's not important. But you get a Shiva, you get the Shiva card, which is the next rare card that we can pick up. So that's pretty awesome. One other thing I wanted to point out is that I mentioned last episode, and I've mentioned this a couple times, that it seems like I occasionally get frame rate issues with my recordings. But when I watched the video yesterday, where it looked like it was lagging on my computer, it seemed like it was fine. So I'm thinking it's just that my computer can't always process it that well, but it's recording okay. If you notice something with the recording, please let me know, but it seems like I might be a little concerned about nothing, which is good because I would like to play some games with with I guess better graphics or more advanced graphics, and knowing that the game won't get really choppy is really important. Anyway, kind of glossing over this conversation, but yeah, we should have done this earlier, that is, send him the letter, or give him the letter, but now he's finally talking to us. And what we need to do is talk to him a couple of times. I'm sorry, your princess is in another castle. Yeah, I know, that's a tired joke. But anyway, Ellone is unfortunately not here, which I suppose we should know because we did walk around and we walked around and we didn't see her here. Everyone is so nice to her. I'm guessing that that's not going to work out too well. But they never got her, so... Oh, well maybe they did get her. I didn't know Galbadia had a naval fleet. Huh. Well, that's interesting. That's no good. They probably caught up, didn't they? So you prepared to die. Uh-huh. Oh. Well, from what we know of Esthar, they all seem like jerks, really. Ah, so they fought each other. So you just have to wait for them to take each other out, huh? Or not? Was it? Yeah, that's probably a good plan. Well, of course, they got to protect themselves. They want to protect their own country before they protect you. Although it looks like Ellone is doing something. Oh no. That doesn't seem like a jump as much as it seemed like a fall. So they were actually after Ellone the whole time. Huh. Everyone wants this girl. I wonder why Esthar wanted her. Now we know Laguna was heading there, but that was, what, 17 years ago or something? He can't possibly still be there, right? No, you did what you could. Well, how are we going to get there? Are you going to tell us how to get there? Nope, nope, they're just going to send us back to Balamb Garden. Yeah. Oh, good. Nothing like a xenophobic country. Well, that's not good either. Well, that's not helpful. Squall, you gotta give better orders than that. Yeah, we're ready. So what you need to do here, to continue the plot, is we actually need to go to Fisherman's Horizon. So that's the game doesn't tell you this, but you're supposed to get the hint from previous conversations in Fisherman's Horizon about the fact that they all came from Esthar, how the railroad connects to the Esthar continent, etc., etc. So those are all supposed to be your hints that we're supposed to go to Fisherman's Horizon. So that's what we're going to be doing here. So let's see if I can get this turned around. If I can actually get out of here. Okay, I see where I need to go. I just need to actually pilot the ship. There we go. Yeah, now we're good. Assuming I don't get stuck in another portion of the continent. Nope. Nothing but open waters from here. So yeah, now we need to go to Fisherman's Horizon, and that's how we're going to continue with the plot. So, while we're driving, I guess I'll give you a quick update about just some general news. I purchased a component cable for my PSP the other day, and it finally came in. So what this means is I can finally start testing the Elgato with the PSP on the TV and see if I can get that to work. Because, as I mentioned before, I'd really like to do some some PSP games, and I have some ideas of where I want to go with that already, but I have to make sure I can actually get it to work with my TV and everything. So there should be a test video coming up in the near future, and hopefully I'll get that working, and if the test video works, then I can start really anticipating some new projects, because, you know, thinking about what events we have left in the game, there really isn't that much, because even the grinding level, or even the episodes where I'm going to be showing off how to max your stats, even though the process takes a long time, I've already done all the work off screen. So basically, it's just going to be me showing off the technique, which is like 1 or 2 episodes, but after that, that's basically it. So yeah, it'll be pretty straightforward. And I think I said last episode we're maybe 5 episodes away from maxing our stats, and I think that's about true. So now we're about 4 episodes away from that. And then once you finish maxing your stats, you know, there are maybe 1 or 2 side quests that are kind of lame and aren't super important, and I have to decide if I want to have one last episode where we kind of throw all that stuff out there. But if not, if I decide not to do that kind of episode where I wrap up loose odds and ends, we're maybe about, I'd say, 10 to 15 episodes away. I mean, given that most of my episode lengths have been around 30 minutes apiece, we're maybe about 5 to 5 to 7 hours, I would say right now. Maybe I'm wrong, but 5 to 7 hours in terms of actual recording time away. Now, I might be underestimating that a little bit just because the last couple of areas will take a while, but we'll see. We'll see. And I might just make some episodes at the end super episodes, so yeah. But anyway, you kind of saw what I did there. Squall comes in and sees Rinoa, picks her up, and gets angsty again. Then he picks her up, and then you have control of Squall, and you basically just have to walk him until the screen goes completely black. And at this point, we are in an automatic cutscene. Well, not an automatic cutscene. I have to move the dialogue box along, but he's walking on his own. Gee, you think, Squall? You've changed quite a bit. And it's like, I mean, how long have you been walking? It was bright out when we parked, and now it's almost nighttime. And that's not a short bridge. It looks like a pretty large bridge from Fisherman's Horizon to Esthar. I doubt they're angry at you. They may be laughing at you after all the junk that you've talked. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you're acknowledging it. Okay, so maybe you already acknowledged it. Well, I think we're all that way. Well, not maybe we're all that way, but I can kind of empathize with Squall a little bit. You know, I mean, I'm not the most extroverted person. I'm actually pretty introverted with most people I don't know. But now we have to talk to Rinoa to keep her moving. And it's easier to be... I think people who are introverted are often perceived as being indifferent or cold or whatnot. And it's easier that way as opposed to having people think that, like, I don't know, people thinking that you want to have people around. Now, Squall's introversion is maybe more based on not wanting to be perceived a certain way, but even for people who are just naturally introverted, I don't think it's uncommon for them not to care or not to be worried that people find them cold, because it makes it easier because people leave them alone then. At any rate, you guys are being weird. Yeah, why did you think that you were going alone? Although, how did they get that far ahead? Did they see us sleeping on the side of the highway and just kept walking past us? That's weird. Anyway, now I think what we need to do is just talk to Adia, and that's going to keep the plot moving. And Adia wants to see Dr. Odin. Yeah, we remember. He's a famous doctor who does a lot of research with sorceresses and magic. And we'll learn more about him in a little bit. So she wants to lose her sorceress powers. Okay, I spoiled it 2 seconds in advance. That'd be nice. Yeah, let's all go to Esthar. Although Squall was not that fond of the idea of going to Esthar. But now Irvine and Selphie come back. And again, how far ahead of us were they? But then again, when did Adia show up? She wasn't on the ship. Like, how did they get here with Adia when we... forget it. Just forget it. Yeah, he is. Stop pretending like you don't care, Squall. But yeah, maybe we shouldn't agitate him unnecessarily. Huh. I wonder why that is. Alright, we will try going east next. So, I'm going to go ahead and bring Adia along with me, just to show her off a bit. And there's some things I want to explain with Adia, so let's do a quick junction exchange. Alright. that shouldn't screw things up too much. But yeah, now we have Adia in the party, and we can keep moving. I'm going to go ahead and heal her on screen real quick too. So what's interesting about Adia, or I don't know if it's interesting, but what's nice about Adia is that she's a temporary character. In case that isn't obvious, she won't be fighting with us for the rest of the game. But in that way, she's just like Cypher. So if you remember, way back at the beginning of the game, we had Cypher in our party for the event at Delet. So I said at that time, if you wanted to level up your GFs or get some good spells early, you could fight with Adia or not Adia. You could kill off your other two characters, Zell and Squall, and use Cypher as your guy and have him fight and level up. And then by the time he got to level, 60 something, your GFs would be at level 100, and you could draw the best spells from the enemies in that region. Well, it's the same thing here. If you really want to level up your GFs, but don't want to level up your characters yet, you can do so with Adia. I wouldn't do it in that region we were just in, because the enemies there are all pretty weak. But we will be taking advantage of that later, particularly when we want to track down those Malboros, which is what I was saying earlier, and that's why you want to have Berserk, Blind, Berserk, Blind, Confuse, and Sleep. And I'll detail more about what we need to prepare for that in the next episode. We won't be tracking them down in the next episode, but we will be making preparations for that. So let's get going. Yeah, it's getting serious. Yeah, I suppose. Agreed. Now, for some reason, they give us another chance to switch our party. I'm not interested in doing that, so we're not going to. Alright, so what we need to do now is... Well, we're basically trying to find Esthar. The way we do that is we run up on these bones, and then that's the trick. That's basically the entire trick. And then we just run off the screen there, and then we run across these bones to another area. And then once you get here, I can't remember what this junction point is. I don't think it's anything good. Yeah, it's Thendaga. Not great. So I'm not going to draw it. And then you run up here, and then you can press X to jump off. And from here, all we have to do is basically run straight forward, and we're basically there. Now, I think this next area has a split off. If you go to the right, there's a save point. And we'll come back here because after this next area, I'm going to end the episode. But for now, I actually want to go left because if you do so, we run into our next boss fight against the Abaddon. You know, it's been too long. I guess the game figured we haven't had a boss fight in a while, so why not? And this dungeon's pretty short, so, you know, really got to get that boss fight in there when you can. Now, for some reason, even though we're, 20 plus hours into the game, they still feel it's necessary to tell us, or to give us tips here. Anyway, so yeah, the basic trick here is you really want to use curative magic and spells on the Abaddon, and that'll do quite a bit of damage to him. Now, I'm not sure how much health he has at this stage, because his level will be a little bit higher because of Adia, but not super high. Now, if you had learned... Now, there's an ability you can learn that really speeds up this process, so if you learned Recovery for Leviathan, it's a command ability. That ability, what it does is it heals you for your maximum possible HP, so whatever your HP is, it restores it completely. Now, if you use it on an undead enemy, it will do, again, its maximum health and damage, up to 9,999. Now, I wasn't paying close attention to the numbers there. I think his health was a little over 10,000, so you probably couldn't one-shot him unless you didn't bring Adia with you. But, yeah. Nonetheless, very easy, and we learned some useful abilities. Awesome. Now what we need to do is we need to continue going straight, but if I recall, but I don't think there's a save point up there before we end up doing some other stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save my game here, cut the episode, and then next time I'll just meet you back at the screen where we fought the Abaddon. Until then, this has been Marathon Hurdler. I want to thank you as always for checking out my videos, and hopefully I will see you next time.